These tools up here are the polygon tools, and you'll also find mesh editing tools here. So there's mesh, edit mesh, mesh tools. So you'll find these, just editing the actual mesh itself is some of the best, some of the quickest, most direct ways to make things rounded. So I'm going to start, and you can join with me. Just make a box. I'm going to select that box, Command D to duplicate, and move it over. Command D to duplicate, move it over. Command D, duplicate, move it over. Command D, duplicate, move it over. So now we've got basically 5 boxes, and they're all pretty square. And now what we can do is actually add divisions and add rounded elements to make them more round. So one of the first ways to do this, if you got your 5 boxes, we're just going to start on the second one here. Under Edit Mesh, there is Bevel. So bevel is something that you can select any edge or any object, and what it's going to do is allow you to round it. So suppose you have a round, like a square thing, and you just want one rounded edge. So I can, on this box, right select, select edge, select this edge, and then go to Edit Mesh Bevel. And what that's going to do is bring up, just like Extrude, this little box right here. So you'll have like a little interactive box. So fraction is how much of the sides next to it is your bevel going to take up. Fraction at 0 means almost nothing. Basically means nothing. Fraction at 1 means the entire plane. So I'm going to do somewhere like halfway, about 5. Segments is how many edges it's going to make. 1 is clearly, it's not rounded. It's just a 45-degree angle. But if I add 2, it gets a little pointy, 3, more pointy, and you can go all the way up until it's actually really smooth. And just as a note, anytime you run into a slider or a numerical reading in Maya, they have no limits. So I can start with 12. If I want more than 12, I can just go in and type 40. Oh, okay. It won't like my 40. Let's do something like 20. So it can keep on adding. So almost every numerical, if you want more, just give it more. The sliders are just kind of shortcuts. It doesn't mean it's actual limitations. So, but I can take that down because I think 20 is too much. Depth is going to be, like you can bevel it out or you can bevel it in. So depth can make it, does it bevel out or bevel in? Mitering, that's it. So that's pretty good. So that's one way to do, is to basically bevel, to use the bevel tool. None of that's that great, so I'm just going to, take this object mode and just delete it. And I'll make a new box by Command D, W to move, hey, new box. Now I can select the whole box and actually do Edit Mesh and just bevel the whole thing. So here, fraction now isn't just on one side, it's on all sides. Segments is just not on one side, it's on all sides. Depth is not on one side, it's just all. So you can actually start to make some pretty weird shapes, rounded shapes, just by playing with bevel. So you can work on the whole object. I'm going to press Command Z and get out of this. So you can do bevel on the whole thing, on an edge, or you can even select like a face and do bevel on it, and it would just be all those sides. So basically beveling is a way to soften corners, and it works on any corners. It doesn't have to be a square. So it would work on that polygon, etc. But even that, I'm going to Command Z out of that, even that starts to feel a little labor intensive. So another way that you can deal with rounded corners is actually go into Edit Mesh and, ooh, where'd it go? There is a function here called smooth. Now what smooth does, oh, I have to select full object mode, sorry. You have to be in full object mode. I can go in and select smooth. And what smooth does is it just automatically adds a whole bunch of divisions. And it does it on all angles. So it can be a little severe. One division isn't very smooth, but multiple divisions just makes it a circle. So what it does is it just happens to all the corners. But what if you just wanted like rounded edges? Can you use just smooth to do rounded edges? So what smooth is doing is it's working on each cornered edge. So if you want a more high fidelity, or if you want a combination of smooth corners and round sides, what you could do is first add divisions to your cube. So I'm going to first Edit Mesh, and then under Edit Mesh there is Add Divisions. Add Divisions will divide it into four, like, so there's one division, so it's dividing it by, by a meter of 1, and then 2, and then 3. Now this can get fractally and really complex very quick. So I'm just going to take a moment, and I'm going to do Add Divisions of 1 on this cube. I'm going to select this cube, Add Divisions of 2, and I'll just keep this original cube for 1 over there, and we'll just look at how smooth works on those. So we've seen this is a regular cube. This round one is I've done smooth just on a regular undivided cube. Now if I do smooth on this, where'd it go? Oh, I lose things all the time. By the way, they change the location of these tools almost every year. So sometimes I recall 2015's location of smooth. So here is smooth. Now you can see, notice when I subdivided the square, it actually allowed, it's now only kind of beveling on these smaller surfaces. Does that make sense? So the surfaces are subdivided, so you'll have more flat area. So if I just, with one solid plane on each side, basically gets you a circle. If you subdivide it, you can get kind of a, a blob. And if you subdivide it again, oh, that's subdivision. Let me go to Mesh Smooth. It'll be more pointy. So you can see that smooth, really, when you use smooth, it is affected by the surface, by the number of polygons that are already dividing up that surface. It's going to reach across, so when it looks at a, object like this, it's going to try and smooth the entire planes connected to a corner. So that's what it makes it round. When you have less objects, less polygons, or polygons that don't go all the way, then it just smooths a diminished, it doesn't smooth all the way across. So hopefully that helps you understand the difference between adding divisions, which sometimes is very helpful to get more shapes and forms, and then 2, how you smooth those divisions into getting nicer curves.